How's it going, everyone? It's Marshall. Thanks for tuning in to the live stream today. It's November 26, 2017. And yeah, as you can see by the title card, we're going to talk about the Yamaha AN1x Synthesizer. This is a virtual analog synth from Yamaha, produced 1997. I just want to talk real quick about a few things. So first of all, from what I can find online, this is the AN1x basically came out after the CS1X, and they look very similar. I don't know shit about the CS1X, hadn't even heard about it before I kind of started researching this. But here's a look at it from the Vintage Synth Explorer website here. Yeah, so they look the same, but apparently they don't sound at all the same. But it gets pretty high marks. You can see some of the statistics here. It's 10-note polyphony, dual oscillators with the settings here. Some effects available on board, which is pretty cool. An arpeggiator, 61 key, keybed, 128 patch memories, which, by today's standards is pretty low. But, for 1997, that was probably pretty good. And again, this is one of those synths that I had known about for a while, but I was always kind of curious about. And recently, I've been fortunate enough to pick one up off of eBay for a good price. So here we have one here. Now this unit, it's in good cosmetic shape. Everything works on it, but it does have the low battery indicator when I power it up. So I'll probably have to do a video on swapping out the battery, which I've done a little bit of research on that online. Doesn't seem like that's going to be super difficult to do, which is pretty cool. So, initially the interface here is interesting. It's, I don't know what it is with Yamaha, but they seem to make some interesting choices with UI. So over here, you've got a rotary switch where you can change to these different, rows here, and then you have your up and down selection switches to control different things. So you've got like setup is this bottom row here. It's kind of hard to do with the mic over here. Yeah, but basically some control parameters here along with effects, etc. Over here you've got your different selectors. Like this is to control the VCF. These are the VCOs here and here. And you can actually manually assign certain parameters with this selection here, I believe. And I've only read about a third of the manual, so I know how to do a few things, but not anything super in-depth just yet. I probably need a little more time. I just got this yesterday. It was a little delayed in getting here. I was expecting it on Friday. So a few days ago, which would have been helpful. But so with one evening under my belt with it, I figured out how to do a few things. It does have an editor, which came out a long time ago. And let me just show you that. This is actually kind of cool if think about it, that an editor would have come out for a synth like this. Oh, how about I fire up that machine here. It doesn't. I found a workaround to get it loaded onto Windows 10, but I don't have it working correctly just yet. See, I've got an out of memory error, which pops up here. If I do a select all and request, it might pull the patches here. We'll see what happens. See, receive error. So it's not working correctly on Windows 10, and I had to do some weirdness to even get it to this point. Basically, I installed it on a Windows 7 virtual machine and copied the program file over to Windows 10, and I can get it to load up, and I can get it to do a couple of things, but then I start running into those weird errors. So yeah. Pretty cool synth so far. I like the way it sounds. The UI is not my favorite thing, but from what I understand, this thing was released in 1997 for 899 pounds, and I tossed that into an inflation calculator, and equivalent today would be 1,546 pounds and 28. I don't know. It's not cents. What is it? Pence? I'm not sure. Maybe someone can correct me that uses pounds. But yeah, so then that's pretty wild. So then you convert that into dollars for today, and in today's pricing, that would be $2,058 or $2,059.43, which is, you know, comparable. So that's pretty interesting, I thought. And I did load this thing up with some sounds from JayB. This is JayB's official homepage. He's a YouTuber. I'll leave a link to his page in the description, his YouTube page. Check him out. If you're into trance especially, he's one of the good ones online for doing some live performances, and he offers a lot of patch banks for free, which is cool, for a bunch of different synths. So on his website here, they've got the AN1x, and I did download these and load them up onto the synth, and we'll just kind of demo some of these. But yeah, he's got a whole bunch of stuff on here. Even some silent patches. Nexus. I always thought Nexus was a preset machine. I didn't know you could really do any editing on there, but I've never used it, so I could be wrong. The V-Synth. Recently, I've picked up a V-Synth, which I'm really excited to get again. I used to have one a long time ago, back in like 2007. So that'd be nice to grace the studio once again. And I was able to get, along with that, the Vocal Designer and D50 card. So we could do a D50/DO5 comparison, which will be a lot of fun. So let's check out the synth. So I'm not going to be able to talk and play this thing because it's routed through the same audio mixer. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through and play some of JayB's patches and just kind of fart around a little bit. If you have any questions, you know, the live stream is up. I'll take a look at the chat periodically, so just let me know if you have any questions. So one thing that I found with the JayB patches, and they're really nice, but he doesn't seem to utilize the aftertouch capabilities, or really the touch ribbon, the XZ ribbon. So X is across like this, and Z is the amount of pressure, I guess, from what I read in the manual. So it would be kind of fun to go through and edit some of these patches once I understand a little bit more about what I'm doing and how to route some of these parameters to this controls to add some additional expression like vibrato and things like that. So that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Really well done. And I'll go through a few more here. And then, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I guess we could try hooking up the editor on the Windows 98 machine that I have set up here, which I thought I turned back on. But it's not working. Maybe it's working now. Oh, okay, disconnect me then, fine. No. So yeah, we'll try hooking this up. I had this working last night, and play around with the editor a little bit. This, and I'll kind of explain a little bit how the workflow is, from what I understand. And the AN1x does have FM capabilities, at least in some respect. It's not like a DX7 or anything, but it does have some FM routing available, which is pretty cool. So what's going on with this machine here? Stupid Windows 98. Let's just see if I can do a hard boot on it. There we go. Rainbow screen. And the scaler I'm using for that machine is not very good. It doesn't do certain resolutions, so anything in DOS, it won't show. So one of these days I'll have to upgrade that. There we go. Now we got some magic happening. And there's the old MIDI man, which I disconnected. And I believe there is a way I can get. I'm sorry if that was really loud. I can't hear anything from that stupid machine. But I think there is a way that I can get the AN1x Editor to work in Windows 10 correctly. I just need a little more time playing around with it because I was just reading about that last night and had enough time to test it real quick, but it did not work. So I'll have to work on that. But it does work on my old 98 machine. And right now, it's not gonna... I have to set up the ports again. But anyway, here's the editor. And we'll look at that in a second. I think I'm going to play through a few more patches from JayB. Give that man some love. He did a great job. Check out his channel. And dude does really cool stuff. So, all right, let's go back to here. And let's continue on. And I did get a bunch of patches from my buddy Adamski, also a YouTuber here. He does, on his channel, if you check him out, he is building a analog synth from scratch using all electronic components and just building everything out. Really awesome. His synth is really starting to come together and sound really cool. So, but he supplied me with some bunch of patches from the AN1x, which I will take full use of eventually. And maybe we could look at those on this channel also at some point. So thank you, Adam, for that. All right, I'm getting all confused here. Something I wanted to note as well, the build quality on these knobs is really sketch. These are the thinnest, shittiest plastic knobs I think I've ever felt on a synth before. And I've got the JP8000, which a lot of people say is not a very high-end, in terms of build quality synth, but this is worse. These are bad. And I've seen a lot of these on eBay for sale where they're missing these, so I can understand why. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to mention that, I guess. Another thing I wanted to mention is this is one of the first, I should say not, I don't think it was the first analog modeling synth, but it was around the time when analog modeling was pretty fresh. And you can hear a lot of stepping in the filter with the resonance cranked. That's, again, due to the resolution of the encoders, I'm assuming. That was something that plagued analog modeling synths. I think in some cases it still does. But yeah, so you're gonna hear some of that when you crank up the resonance and you do any kind of filter sweeps on these older VAs. So. Alright, so I think it's time to try and hook up the editor because I think I'm out of patches because it's just repeating itself right now. So give me a second and I will hook up this old thing. And we got Erich. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for joining. Yeah, just testing out the AN1x. Just got it yesterday, so I'm still fresh and still newbie to the whole concept of this thing. It reminds me kind of the M Audio Venom, which is not a good comparison. This is much better than the M Audio Venom, but in terms of the user interface, it's kind of similar in a way. I don't know, one of these days maybe I'll get one of those Venoms in here again. I had one a long time ago and it was such shit I just got rid of it. And actually one of the presets on the Venom is exactly the same, one of the same presets that's on the V-Synth, the original V-Synth, which I thought was kind of crazy. So anyway, let me try and hook this sucker up to the old Windows 98 machine real quick. I'm going to lose control of it in Ableton, which is fine. So let me just shut this guy off. And we'll pull out the MIDI cables for this. Those are the actual audio cables. Let's not pull those out, Marshall. Come on. Take these out. And hopefully I can remember which way these go. I think the red is the output, and black is the input. Shall find out. All right, so power back on. Yep, new AN1x. Got a V-Synth on the way. With the D50 card and Vocal Designer card. That'll be a lot of fun. I miss having the V-Synth. Alright, so let's go to the Windows 98 machine. And if I can find the correct mouse here. Let's do a setup. MIDI port. So right now I'm using the I've got a Sound Blaster 16 PCI card in here. And I've got a MIDI Man USB, or not USB, what am I talking about? MIDI DIN connector, which connects into the game port, which normally, back in the day, you would plug in your like joystick for your game. But the reason why I got this actually was so that I can try and hook up the SC55, I think that's what it is, Sound Canvas, at some point and do some messing around with that. But yeah, luckily I've got a vintage 98 machine, which this should work with the editor here. So let's see. So from what I understand, I go select all and I can go request and it should... Oh. See, that's that stupid little battery. I think maybe I've got the MIDI cables backwards. So hold on a second. All right, we'll try it again. There we go. Look at that. Magic. So this is a lot easier to do dumps, like SysX backups, and save all your patches than a lot of other synths that I've seen. Although it does take a while. Yeah, Windows 98. I have, like, if anyone's interested in vintage, PCs like these from the mid to late 90s, a really good resource that I have been watching on YouTube is Phil's Computer Lab. He built a 4-in-1 system, which I've been trying to copy using a SuperSocket 7 motherboard and K6 3 Plus CPU where you can throttle the processor, I have not been able to get mine to work correctly. So I'm using an old Dell Dimension 4100 instead, but yeah. Yeah, and the editor here is still available on the Yamaha website. That's where I downloaded it from. So, look at that. We got patches. Okay, now, if I come over here and I click on one, let's try the 7th bass. It should change it on the synth. And I can't talk, but let me mute myself and we'll test it out. So it works. I've got a little bit of Alice DJ sound effects going on there. Yo, Doscos, what's up, man? Just checking out the AN1x. And using the editor on a Windows 98 Dell. It does not go full screen either. And I've tried... Oh, is this... Oh, I'm using the wrong freaking mouse. Yeah, here we go. If we go full screen, it kind of goes half-ass screen. And with the way my capture card works, I cannot select really an in-between resolution, unfortunately. So if we shrank it down to like this, it'll be big, but it gets all cut off. I think if that resolution even works. Yeah, there we go. Now if I go full, yeah, what a piece of shit. So yeah, it doesn't scale correctly, and yeah, so we'll have to go back to the old one. Old computers. I think that was the one I was using, and I can't hit the OK button now. Alright, so we'll keep these settings. Yeah, I mean, this board had some decent capabilities, but I was purely interested in this. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of trance. And with the patch selection from JayB, that's kind of right up my alley. So that's why I kind of wanted to pick one up. And also, I'd never had one. But yeah, so the way this editor works is right now we've got the library selected, which we can see here. The AN1x is two-part multi-timbral, so you can have two different sounds playing independently, but it splits the polyphony in half, from what I understand, so going from 10 to 5 voices, and split between the two scenes. And this is kind of reminiscent of kind of the D50-ish a little bit. And then we've got our matrix, which I believe is how we're able to assign control of the knobs over here, these assignable knobs. I think you can do that in the editor from this page, if I'm not mistaken, which I might be, because I've only read part of the manual. Yeah, so that's kind of how this synth is designed to work. If we go into the scene, you can. The thing I like about this is it does have a decent flow for you to kind of tell you how things are routed in the editor. And this is something that's nice because on the synth itself, it's freaking impossible to know unless you look at the manual, and the manual shows you diagrams of this. But this is kind of nice, and it is real time, so we can make changes to this in real time. So let me mute myself and let's try messing one of JayB's patches up all bad. Yeah, sorry there. I think it might have been a little loud, but so the editor can do some real-time changes, which is really nice. I'm either going to need to find a way to split the MIDI back out from this other machine into my regular Windows 10 PC, or figure out a way to get the Windows 10 operating system to work with the old school editor, which currently I have it halfway working, but not enough to make it functional. So if I do figure that out, I'll make a video and post it up here. But yeah, so this is pretty neat. I can't think of anything else. We've got some effects controls on here. It does have this free EG, which I can't remember what this is supposed to be for. But then also you can record some sequences. Actually, that's what the free EG is for. It's to record knob tweaks and the such. And so I guess it can be played back. I'm not sure if this is... let's see, if we go to the steps here. 192 steps, if I'm not mistaken, up here. And 4 tracks. Interesting. Yeah, so this will be interesting to kind of check out. Although there's kind of no need for this type of thing nowadays with the DAWs that we have, but yep, and a sequencer. Yeah. Here's the arpeggiator. So you can switch it between step and arpeggio here. Chord, post normal. Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more reading on the manual on some of this stuff. What I would like to know how to do, and I think I had already said this already, but you can change. Oh, this is hard to read. Such tiny little print. Even on I've got a 40. I'm not sure how big this TV is in here. but I have a hard time seeing these little numbers. So if we went pitch bend, okay. So yeah, this is kind of like your modulation matrix, and you can route these out. 1 through 8. I think that's how many knobs we have. Now I'm not sure about these bottom ones. So, yeah. Miami Vice, I like it. Anyway, so that's the editor. Pretty impressive for 1997, I gotta say. I was not expecting this level of control from an old editor from 97 on this synthesizer. But it was really pretty necessary given the ridiculous layout of this synth. It's not a good user interface at all. I mean, it looks kind of neat, I guess, but I mean, this whole shit over here, I can live with this, but all the extra switching you have to do to get to some of the other parameters on here on the front panel is just stupid. It's dumb. But maybe it was a cost-saving thing, but at the same time, this seemed to be a full-price type synth back in the day, so I don't know. I don't know, guys. But I like the sounds. I'll have to see if I can do some comparisons between the JP 8000 that I have. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. So but I think that's going to do it for tonight's live stream. And I'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll have a couple more videos come out during the week sometime. It's been busy this week, had some family stuff, and obviously the holidays, Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to anyone in the U.S. who celebrates that. And yeah, I'll be back in a couple of days with some new videos. So thanks again for tuning in, all you folks in the live stream. Dasgas, Eric, I'm not sure if you say that, Erich or Eric. I may be totally butchering your name, so I apologize if I am. But anyway, have a good one, guys.